What if Lincoln was killed before becoming president? As we all know, Lincoln was shot dead. Shot by a man with Southern sympathies known as John Wilkes Booth, who was angry over the loss of the Confederacy. However, you may not have known that even before the war and during the Civil War, Lincoln was the subject of many death threats. Some people say that he even got up to 10,000 death threats, although he didn't really take them too seriously. One of the most famous and serious attempts to allegedly assassinate the president was the Baltimore plot, which you likely never heard of unless you are a history buff. Today, most historians think that the plot wasn't real. But what if it was? What if the Baltimore plot had indeed been real and succeeded in killing off the president? Well, I will give you some background information. Lincoln was in the midst of a 70-stop tour to his inauguration as president in 1861. He was going to pass through Baltimore on his tour, but then a man called Allan Pinkerton, in charge of the protection of the president-elect, said that there was a plot to kill the president when he got off the train in Baltimore. When the president got out, as the plot went, he was to mingle with the crowd that was waiting outside. According to Pinkerton, there was several assassins with knives in the crowd, waiting to stab Lincoln. If this plot had been real, although most likely it was hyped up, it is very plausible that it could have happened. Maryland was a state with very southern-leaning tendency, and many people there did not favor the Union. So let's say that the plot was real, and Pinkerton didn't pick up on it. Lincoln gets out of the train and is immediately stabbed by a bunch of assassins. What then? Well, Andrew Johnson would take over, since he was the vice president. It would not be a pretty thing. Johnson is considered one of the worst presidents in history, while Lincoln is considered one of the best. There's a reason for that. While Lincoln kept the Union together and issued greater rights for blacks and slaves, Johnson kind of went back on that policy. He actively rejected plans to help free blacks, and he wanted a quick restoration of the slave states to the Union. And the major difference here is that he is a Southern politician, while Lincoln was a Northern one. Although Johnson did sympathize with the North, this puts him in a tricky situation. He was a Southern president, fighting a war against the South. Now, that might pose a dilemma if you know what I mean. Johnson was a Southern Democrat that firmly believed that slaves were a constitutional right. In this case, would the Civil War even happen? I know that many people like to say that the Civil War was fought over states' rights and such, but what were those rights over? Yes, the states' rights to own slaves. The Civil War was basically a war over slavery, and if the President of the United States was for slavery, then what would be the point of the war? The Civil War might not even happen in this case. You see, the Southern states succeeded because Lincoln was elected. They noted how he had said that the nation cannot survive, half slave and half free, and they thought that it meant that he would abolish slavery for good. In fact, Lincoln was a Republican who believed that slavery shouldn't spread, but the Southern states succeeded anyway. If there was no Lincoln and a Southern slave-sympathizing president in power, then what would the reason be to secede? Johnson would allow the states to keep their slaves. There would be no issue, essentially. So the American Civil War never happens. What would the result be of such a war not happening? Well, the war made the North and the West rich, while the South lagged behind for a century. The war instilled a deep hatred for the North in the South. Hundreds of thousands of men died, but most importantly, slavery was abolished as a result. In the timeline where Johnson was president, relations between the North and the South would be better, but African Americans would be far worse off. However, you must emphasize that the Republican-dominated Congress would not let this happen. They were in constant conflict with Johnson, and even if Johnson refused to free the slaves, Congress would likely do so. Congress would likely override Johnson in any case concerning the slaves, and slaves would likely be freed around that time. We must emphasize this: slavery was doomed to die out. The powers of Europe had already abolished slavery, and the last Western power to do so was Brazil in 1888. The abolishment of slavery was inevitable, with or without Lincoln. Now, I can't say if this would result in the secession of the southern states. Perhaps, but if they did so, Johnson would be as committed as Lincoln to the Union. After all, why would Lincoln choose a fully Southern sympathizing vice president? Johnson was the only Southern president, or politician I meant, that didn't turn his back on the Union. But this doesn't mean that he was fully against the South. If the Civil War were to happen this timeline, the U.S. government would be divided between the President and Congress, and who knows, perhaps the South could even win the Civil War due to the paralyzed government. But that is a topic for another video. If Lincoln never rose to power and Johnson took his place, the Civil War would be very different. Americans would be fighting the South under a Southern president, which doesn't exactly raise much confidence or morale. Johnson would be mistrusted by the American populace, seen as a potential traitor, and I think this lack of morale would be enough to turn the tide of the war. But we can't say for sure. Thanks for watching, and make sure to subscribe for more great content.